Have you ever found yourself caught in that all too familiar morning struggle?
Yeah.
The alarm goes off, your hand just automatically shoots out for the snooze button,
Oh, yeah.
and just the thought of facing the day feels, well, huge, overwhelming.
Totally. Or maybe it's more that nagging feeling that you could be doing more, that there's this amazing life kind of waiting if you can just figure out how to unlock it.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
sense of unfulfilled potential or just feeling swamped by everything life throws at you. It's really common.
It is. And, a lot of us end up settling for average, maybe not because we want to, but because getting to something more feels, I don't know, complicated or like it needs some superhuman effort.
Right. And that is precisely where we want to start today. What if unlocking that extraordinary life was actually way simpler than you ever imagined? Okay, so let's really get into this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the Miracle Morning Framework.
Mm.
It's this idea that fundamentally making a big shift in your daily routine, like specifically how you start your day,
Mm-hmm.
could lead to some really incredible breakthroughs
Mm-hmm.
in like every area of your life.
Yeah, and our mission here, really, for you listening, is to pull out the most practical, the most impactful stuff from this material.
Right.
We want you to walk away with things you can use immediately to start changing how you experience things. This isn't about just cramming more stuff into your schedule, because who needs that?
Definitely not.
It's about reclaiming time, but purposeful time. It's about crafting a morning that doesn't just feel productive, but actually sets you up to become the person you want to be.
And as we go through this, you're going to find out not just what the steps are, but the why behind them, why they actually work, backed up by some pretty compelling stories and real practical strategies.
Mm.
Ultimately, this whole framework, it's about becoming the person you need to be so you can naturally attract and, just as importantly, sustain the success, the happiness, the fulfillment that you really, truly want.
And it does challenge some common ideas, like maybe success isn't always this constant uphill battle, or even that idea about sleep, that maybe how much you need is more about what you believe than the actual hours logged.
Interesting. Okay, let's get into section 1, the radical promise of transformation. So when we talk about the miracle morning, what exactly are we defining here?
Well, there's this quote from Brad Weimert. He's the CEO of Easy Pay Direct, and he calls it a game-changing, paradigm-shifting method, which is pretty strong language.
Yeah, it is.
At its core, the Miracle Morning is put forward as this revolutionary process that's pretty much guaranteed to transform your life. And here's the kicker, the really intriguing part.
Okay.
It promises you can do all this, achieve this transformation, all before 8:00 in the morning.
Before 8 a.m. Wow. That sounds almost too good to be true.
It does sound incredibly bold, doesn't it? But the sources, they really suggest a deep, almost immediate impact for people who actually commit to doing it.
Okay, that's a claim. And look, this matters hugely to you, our listener,
Yeah.
because it's really about breaking free from what the book calls the average, escaping that and unlocking your real, your boundless potential.
Mm-hmm.
We all have that basic human drive, right? To grow, to get better, to feel like we're actually moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But then you hear these, frankly, pretty sobering stats.
Yeah, those are tough.
Like the average American being 20 pounds overweight, maybe $10,000 in debt, feeling a bit down, not really liking their job, having like less than one close friend.
It's a bleak picture.
It really is. And it forces you to ask that tough question. Are you settling? Are you accepting less than what you truly want and what you're genuinely capable of in your own life?
And what's really fascinating here is this whole concept of creating your level 10 life. It's not just, hitting a certain salary or getting that corner office.
Lord, it's bigger than that.
It's holistic. It covers everything vital, your health, your happiness, how deep your relationships are, your financial situation, your sense of spiritual well-being, the whole package.
Okay.
And the book makes this really powerful argument. Getting that level 10 life isn't just some distant dream. It's actually simple. It's built on understanding that your external world, your life situation, is basically a mirror, a direct reflection of what's going on inside your inner world.
And the book lays out these 3 core arguments, and they connect directly to your potential, making a really strong case for taking charge of your own transformation. The first one says flat out, you are just as worthy, just as deserving, and just as capable of having extraordinary health, wealth, happiness, love, success, just as much as anyone else on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just some feel-good fluff. It's presented as this basic truth that's absolutely vital for the quality of your life
Right.
and also for the positive impact you can have on the people around you. It's almost like an affirmation just reading it.
Yeah, and if you connect that to the bigger picture, the second argument really drives it home. To stop settling, to actually create the success you want, you absolutely must set aside time every single day.
Ah.
Time dedicated to becoming the person who can attract that success and, importantly, keep it.
Okay.
This really tackles what you could call the potential gap, that space between where you are now and where you want to be.
Right.
You just can't expect level 10 results if you're operating like a level 2 or 3 person, right? That consistent daily focus on your own growth, that's the bridge you need to build across that gap.
And the third argument, this one really holds the whole framework together.
Hmm.
Focused, productive mornings naturally lead to focused, productive days.
Yeah.
And those days add up to a successful life.
Makes sense.
So just by changing how you wake up, by being intentional about those first few hours, you can literally start transforming any area of your life. And the book claims maybe faster than you ever thought possible. It really puts a laser focus on that first hour or so as the most leveraged time for making real change.
Which naturally makes you wonder, right? What kind of event, what kind of catalyst sparks that kind of major personal shift? And the origin story of the Miracle Morning, it's actually pretty intense. It really sheds light on this. It was truly born from a place of real desperation, which then led to this incredible source of inspiration.
Yeah, it's quite a story. The author, Hal Elrod, he talks openly about two really distinct rock-bottom moments he went through. Both became these huge turning points for him. His first one was just unbelievably dramatic. Traumatic, really. It was December 3rd, 1999. He was only 20 years old, driving at 70 miles per hour when he got hit head-on by a Chevy truck doing 80.
Oh, my God.
And then just moments later, another car, a Saturn, smashed into his driver's side door, also doing 70. Basically crushed him between the two vehicles. The details are just brutal.
Yeah, I read those.
11 fractured bones, diagnosed with permanent brain damage. His left eyeball was literally unsupported because of facial fractures. Severed a major nerve in his arm. Pelvis fractured in 3 places. And his femur, his thigh bone, snapped right through the skin.
It's just horrific. And the outcome, I mean, he was clinically dead for 6 minutes at the scene.
Yeah.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
Then he wakes up from a coma in the hospital, and the first things he hears are, "You might never walk again." And then, adding tragedy on top of tragedy, his girlfriend breaks up with him right there in the hospital bed.
Unbelievable. But what's truly incredible here, and such a powerful lesson for anyone listening right now, is how Hal chose to react. How he turned this unimaginable adversity into, well, an advantage.
Right. Instead of just sinking into despair, which would be totally understandable.
Totally.
He chose personal responsibility, he cultivated gratitude somehow, and he focused on empowering other people. This devastating event, it actually became the catalyst for this amazing comeback. It just shows incredible resilience.
It really does.
It's a real testament to how you can turn even the deepest struggles into, like, stepping stones.
You hear that, and it's hard to imagine anything being worse. But believe it or not, Hal actually describes his second rock bottom as being even harder on him, emotionally and mentally.
Really? Worse than that accident?
Yeah. Fast forward to 2008. The big global recession hits, and it hits him hard, really hard. He ends up $425,000 in debt, his business is failing, and he falls into this deep, dark depression. Found comfort only in staying in bed. He even admitted he was having suicidal thoughts during that time.
Wow. And that really makes you think, doesn't it? How do you personally handle those times when you feel completely alone in your struggles? Because Hal pointed out this crucial difference.
What was that?
In the hospital, even with all those terrible injuries, he was surrounded by support, right? Family, friends, doctors, nurses.
Right, a whole team.
But during the recession, he felt utterly isolated. No one was bringing him meals, no visitors dropping by, none of that external support system he had before. And that isolation, he said, made the financial collapse and the depression feel even more crushing than the physical trauma of the accident.
That really highlights the power of connection, doesn't it? Especially when you're really struggling.
Hugely. And then right in the middle of this deep despair comes the big aha moment. He'd always hated running, apparently. Hated it.
Okay.
But his friend John gave him some simple advice. Start running. It'll help you feel better. Think clearer. Hal was resistant, totally defeated, but out of just sheer desperation, he finally puts on his basketball shoes, not even running shoes, and goes for a run.
Just trying anything at that point.
Anything. And it was on that run, just trying to clear his head, that he heard this quote from the personal development legend, Jim Rohn. And it just clicked. The quote was, "Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development because success is something you attract by the person you become."
Ah, the Jim Rohn classic. Powerful stuff.
It really was the spark.
Yeah.
Hal called it his success parallel realization. He looked at his life. He wanted level 10 success, right? In everything, health, happiness, money, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was totally honest with himself, his personal development, it was maybe a level 2, maybe a 3 or 4 on a good day, he said. And the epiphany was so simple, but so powerful. Your outer world is always going to mirror your inner world. If you truly want level 10 results, an amazing life, you have to become a level 10 person first.
That's a fundamental truth, isn't it?
Oh.
So many people miss that. They chase the external results without working on the internal growth needed to actually get there and keep it.
Exactly. And the results that followed this realization for Hal, they were incredibly fast and profound. Less than a year later, his income wasn't just back to where it was before the recession, it was higher.
Wow.
He paid off all that debt, $425 grand. He achieved dreams he'd had for years, like speaking internationally, got featured in Chicken Soup for the Soul, and get this, he even completed a 52-mile ultramarathon.
An ultramarathon, after being told he might not walk.
Right. All within 12 months. It's not just a nice story. It really shows the incredible, rapid, transformative power of consistently applying these miracle morning principles. It turned his life around, personally and professionally. It's like a living proof of concept for radical change.
Okay, so if the miracle morning can deliver results like that, it begs the question, why isn't everyone doing it? Which brings us nicely into section 2, overcoming the roadblocks to your success. And specifically looking at the why, addressing what the book calls the 95% problem.
Yeah, let's revisit that statistic because it's pretty stark. Roughly 95% of society, sadly, ends up settling for much less than they truly want out of life.
Mm-hmm.
They live with these kind of unspoken wishes, quiet regrets, and often they just don't grasp that they actually have the power within them to be and do and have everything they desire. But here's the absolute key insight for you listening.
Okay.
That statistic does not have to include you. It's a choice. The book carefully lays out these decisive, actionable steps you can take to rise above that widespread mediocrity and consciously, intentionally join the top 5%, the people who are actively building their dream lives.
Okay, so what's the first big roadblock?
The first major cause identified is something Hal calls rear-view mirror syndrome, or RMS. This is basically how our subconscious minds trap us. We keep replaying our past over and over. Okay, and because we keep replaying it, we end up recreating it. We operate based on these deeply embedded, self-limiting beliefs that are almost entirely formed by our past failures and experiences. We essentially convince ourselves, well, that's who I was, so that must be who I am now.
Right, stuck looking backward.
Exactly. And this leads to this really alarming thought pattern, one most of us aren't even aware of. Research suggests that something like 95% of our thoughts each day, and we have tens of thousands of thoughts, are the exact same thoughts we had yesterday.
95%? Wow.
Yeah. It creates this rigid cycle that just prevents any real change. If you're thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, doing the same things, your life stays the same. It has to.
So what's the fix? How do you break out of that?
The powerful solution for you, if you feel caught in this, is to consciously adopt a new belief, a new paradigm. My past does not equal my future.
Okay.
It means deliberately talking to yourself differently in an inspiring way, an empowering way. Even if you don't fully buy it at first, fake it till you make it, kind of. It's about choosing consciously to think bigger than you've ever let yourself think before. And remembering this key truth, you can't actually fail. You can only learn, grow, and get better. Where you are right now is a result of who you were, but where you go next, that depends entirely on who you choose to be, starting right now, this moment. It's about actively cutting ties with those old limitations.
Okay, that's powerful.
Yeah.
What's the second major cause holding people back?
The second one is huge and really common, a lack of purpose. The reality is most people, if you ask them, they really struggle to clearly say what their life purpose is.
Yeah, that's a tough question for many.
It is. And so they often end up just focusing on, getting through the day, surviving, or chasing short-term pleasures, kind of drifting without a strong why to pull them forward.
Right.
Hal's own story illustrates this perfectly. He spent 6 years just being mediocre in his sales job, average results, until he intentionally sat down and defined a compelling life purpose for himself.
What was it?
It was twofold. First, to become the person he needed to be to achieve consistent success. And second, to selflessly add value to others. He decided to coach 16 struggling sales reps for free just because he believed in them.
Wow, for free.
For free. And the result, his own income jumped by 94%, 94%. And he led more reps to top performance levels than anyone had in that company's 50-year history.
Incredible.
So the big takeaway here for you is choose any purpose.
Right.
Any purpose that feels bigger than your current problems. It doesn't have to be some grand save the world mission right away.
Okay.
It could be as simple as, I'm going to smile more today to bring a bit more happiness into my life and maybe brighten someone else's day. That's a purpose. As the author Matthew Kelly says, our universal purpose really is to become the best version of ourselves.
Love that.
So actually schedule some time, maybe just 10, 15 minutes, to think about and write down your purpose. It seriously changes the game for your motivation and your direction.
Okay, number 3. This one sounds subtle. Isolating incidents. What's that about?
This is a really sneaky trap we fall into. It's believing that our individual choices, like hitting snooze just this once, or skipping one workout, or putting off that one task, only affect that single moment. We tell ourselves, it's just this one time, no big deal.
Right, we rationalize it.
We totally do. But the deeper truth, as T. Harv Eker famously put it, is how you do anything is how you do everything. Every single thought you have, every choice you make, every action you take, no matter how small it seems, it all adds up. It determines who you are becoming.
So hitting snooze isn't just about sleep.
Exactly. It's not just 5 more minutes. It's subtly programming your subconscious. It's saying, my intentions don't really matter. I don't have to follow through. The crucial solution for you, if you recognize this pattern, is to start seeing the bigger picture. Realize every action shapes your identity. So when you're tempted to do the easy thing, the comfortable thing, just pause and remind yourself, wait, this isn't who I want to become. This action doesn't line up with the person I'm striving to be. Your discipline in those small moments. That's what builds the lifestyle you want. Always remember this quote from the book. Who you're becoming is far more important than what you're doing, and yet it is what you're doing that is determining who you're becoming.
Wow, that puts a lot of weight on those small choices.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Next up is lack of accountability, and this is an interesting one. High achievers. They don't just tolerate accountability, they actively seek it out. They build it into their lives.
Right.
But most people tend to resist it, often because our past experiences with accountability felt forced,
Yeah.
Parents, teachers, bosses.
Yeah, like being checked up on.
Exactly. But without it, let's be honest, we're all prone to taking the easy way out sometimes, cutting corners. There's often no immediate consequence, so why not?
Makes sense. So what kind of accountability are we talking about here? And how does it help you?
Well, think about it. Most of the positive results many of us got from when we were kids up to maybe age 18, a lot of that came from accountability, right? Parents making sure you did homework, coaches making sure you came to practice. But then as adults, we often just drop that. The key solution for you, if you want consistent progress, is to take ownership. Initiate your own accountability systems.
Like what?
It could be hiring a professional coach or finding a mentor. Or it could be simpler just teaming up with a good friend, a family member, even a colleague to be accountability partners.
Okay.
This is where you can really get traction because you are way, way more likely to follow through on something if you know someone else is counting on you, expecting you to report back. The book even suggests checking out mytmmcommunity.com or just asking a friend to read the book with you and do the practices together. That builds an instant support.
Gotcha. Okay, another roadblock identified is a mediocre circle of influence. This sounds important.
It's huge. There's actual science behind this. Jim Rohn famously said, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, your immediate circle. It massively impacts your success, your health, your happiness, even how much money you make.
Wow.
So it's incredibly hard to move forward, to reach your goals, if the people closest to you are kind of pulling you back down, even unintentionally. And that can be really tough if it's family or friends you've known forever.
So what do? You can't just ditch your family.
No, absolutely not. But the solution for you is about being proactive and intentional about improving your circle over time. It doesn't always mean cutting people out, but it does mean actively seeking out and spending more time with people who genuinely believe in you, people who inspire you, who challenge you to be better.
Okay, how do you find those people?
Well, you could join online communities like meetup.com, find groups focused on personal growth or your interests. If you're in business, networking groups like BNI can be great. Volunteering for causes you care about, like maybe the Boys and Girls Clubs, connects you with motivated, positive people.
Good examples.
These places are designed to foster growth. And remember what we just talked about. Getting an accountability partner, that instantly improves your circle right there. It's about being really deliberate about who gets to influence your thinking and your actions.
Right, being strategic about it.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Lack of personal development. This seems central to the whole idea.
Absolutely central. It comes right back to that Jim Rohn quote that hit Hal so hard. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development. Success is something you attract by who you become.
Hmm.
The basic problem is most people just don't invest dedicated time, daily time, in actively developing themselves into that level 10 person, the person who can handle, attract, and sustain the success they say they want.
So if you don't make time for it.
Then you're basically forced to make time for the pain and struggle that comes from not growing. It's a profound truth. The beauty of the Miracle Morning is that it carves out that specific protected time for this crucial self-development. It's not just another task, it's the system for building that level 10. When you become that person, more knowledgeable, more skilled, more resilient, more confident, you just naturally start attracting and sustaining the life you want. It becomes easier. You bridge that gap between who you are and who you want to be by consistently working on yourself.
Okay, and the final cause of mediocrity listed. Lack of urgency. This one feels really common.
Oh, it's pervasive. It's the someday mindset. I'll start that business someday. I'll get fit someday. I'll write that book someday.
We've all said it.
We all have. But it inevitably leads to procrastination, tons of unfulfilled potential, and ultimately looking back with regret. You wake up years later and wonder, how did my life end up here so far from what I imagined?
So how do you combat that someday thinking?
The critical truth for you, if you're stuck in that loop, is realizing now matters more than any other time. Why? Because it's what you are doing today that is determining who you're becoming, and who you're becoming will always determine the quality and direction of your life. The powerful solution for you is simple but not easy. Draw your line in the sand today. Make a firm decision to change now. Understand that mediocrity isn't just something that happens, it's a choice to stay the same. An extraordinary life. That's also a choice. It's the choice to learn, to grow, to get a little bit better every single day. If you don't actively change, nothing in your life will change. It sounds obvious, but internalizing that is incredibly powerful.
Okay, so we've mapped out these roadblocks, these reasons why people get stuck. Now let's shift gears. Let's get really practical. Section 3, making waking up easy. How do we actually make getting out of bed, especially early, feel less like torture and more like something we actually want to do?
It really starts with a basic, fundamental question you need to ask yourself. Why did you wake up this morning? Seriously. Was it because you genuinely wanted to, because you had a purpose driving you? Or was it just obligation, because the alarm went off because you had to get to work or get the kids ready?
That's a good question to reflect on.
It is. And it leads to the next one. When are you going to truly commit to becoming the person who can create the health, the wealth, the happiness, the freedom that you really deserve? The book really goes after that you snooze, you lose idea.
Yeah, the snooze button habit.
Hitting snooze, Hal argues, isn't just about catching a few more Z's. He calls it a defiant statement to the universe. Like you're saying, I'd rather stay unconscious than actually live my life right now.
Ouch.
Yeah, it starts your whole day grounded in resistance and procrastination. It sets a negative tone right from the first moment.
Whereas waking up with purpose, that puts you in a different category.
Absolutely. It puts you straight into that small percentage of high achievers who are actually living their dreams, not just wishing for them. And this is where Hal introduces this really interesting, maybe even controversial theory about sleep.
Okay, I'm curious about this.
He basically says we need as much sleep as we believe that we need.
Explain that.
He argues it's largely a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you keep telling yourself, oh, I only got 6 hours, I'm going to be exhausted, then get what? You will be exhausted. Your belief creates that reality.
So you're programming yourself for tiredness.
Exactly. And Hal actually experimented with this rigorously on himself. He found that if he consistently told himself before bed, okay, I'm getting the perfect amount of sleep tonight, I'm going to wake up feeling fantastic and energized, he actually did wake up feeling better. Didn't matter if he'd slept 4 hours or 9 hours. His belief seemed to be the key driver.
That's fascinating. So the application for you, the listener,
is to try it. Experiment with this mind-body connection yourself. A really practical tool you can use tonight is the bedtime affirmation. Try saying something like, thank you for giving me these, say, 6 hours sleep tonight. 6 hours is exactly what I need to feel rested and energized in the morning. I'm excited to wake up for my miracle morning and create an amazing day.
Just shifting your expectation, programming your subconscious for a positive wake-up.
Precisely. And the secret, Hal says, to making every morning feel exciting, like Christmas morning when you were a kid,
Yeah.
it's about consciously recreating that genuine, bubbling excitement, that feeling of anticipating something wonderful. The miracle morning is designed to cultivate that feeling. It's about wanting to get out of bed with purpose, not dragging yourself out because of obligation. It's a total mindset shift from dread to, hopefully, enthusiasm.
Okay, so for those of us who are, let's say, snoozeaholics,
Yeah.
who have that button-hitting habit deeply ingrained, what's the practical strategy?
Right. Hal offers a very specific step-by-step approach, the 5-step snooze-proof wake-up strategy. The core idea is simple. When your alarm first goes off, your wake-up motivation level, or WML, is probably at rock bottom, like a 1 out of 10.
Definitely feels like a 1,
Mhm.
or maybe a 0.
Right. So the goal of these 5 steps is to incrementally boost that YML step by step, making it easier and easier to actually stay awake and want to start your day. It's like building up activation energy.
Okay, step 1.
Step 1, set your intentions before bed. This is foundational. Your very first thought when you wake up is almost always your last thought before you fell asleep. So if you want to wake up feeling positive and motivated, you have to consciously create that expectation the night before.
So it's not just hoping, it's actively programming.
Exactly. It's deliberate. The book suggests downloading the specific Miracle Morning Bedtime Affirmation from tmmbook.com to get the wording just right.
Okay, step 2.
Step 2, move your alarm clock across the room. Simple physics here. Movement creates energy. This forces you to physically get out of bed to turn the alarm off. You can't just swat it and roll over.
Oh, you got to get vertical.
That immediate physical action instantly bumps your WML from maybe a 1 to a 2 or even a 3. It's a small win that starts a positive cascade.
Makes sense. Step 3.
Step 3, brush your teeth. Sounds almost too simple, right? But it works as a great little bridge activity. Once you're up, turning off the alarm, go straight to the bathroom sink, brush your teeth, maybe splash some cool water on your face. This little routine further boosts your WML to a 3 or 4. It helps shift you from sleep mode to active mode.
Okay, I can see that. Step 4.
Step 4, drink a full glass of water. Think about it. After 6, 7, 8 hours with no water, you're probably a bit dehydrated. And dehydration is a major, often overlooked cause of feeling tired and sluggish.
True.
So make it easy on yourself. Keep a full glass of water right there by the sink or wherever you end up after brushing. Drink it right down. Rehydrating boosts your WML significantly, up to a 4 or 5. It's amazing what water can do to wake up your system.
Good tip. And the final step.
Step 5, get dressed or jump in the shower. By now, you've built up some real momentum. So the final push is either getting dressed, maybe putting on your workout clothes right away so you're ready for exercise, or hopping into a refreshing shower for that really awake feeling. This gets your WML up to a 5 or 6. At this point, it actually takes very little willpower to stay awake and dive into your miracle morning. You've used these small steps to build enough positive energy that staying awake feels much more natural.
I like how it breaks it down into manageable steps.
Yeah.
Any bonus tips?
Yeah, a few good ones.
Yeah.
We mentioned the bedtime affirmations. Definitely check those out. You can also use technology. Set a timer so your bedroom lights turn on at the same time as your alarm. Much harder to go back to sleep in a bright room.
Smart.
Another clever one is using a timer for your heater. Keep the room cool for sleeping, but program it to warm up right before you wake up so you're less tempted to burrow back under the covers.
Ooh, I like that one.
And finally, you can explore things like My Week of Pulse services that offer pre-recorded motivational messages from authors and speakers as your alarm sound. Start today with inspiration.
So it's really about finding what works for you, customizing these ideas.
Exactly. Experiment. See which combination of these strategies gets your energy and motivation flowing. The goal is to make waking up something you look forward to, not something you dread, by using these steps to build momentum instead of relying purely on willpower, which is usually pretty low first thing in the morning.
Okay, this makes waking up seem much more achievable. Now, let's get to the core. Section 4. The life, SAVERS. These are the daily practices themselves, right? The things you actually do during your miracle morning to cultivate that level 10 self.
Exactly. This is the heart of it. But before we break down each letter in SAVERS, let's quickly revisit that idea of the potential gap. That feeling, that the life you really want is just slightly out of reach.
Yeah, that gap between where you are and where you want to be.
Right. And the book introduces this acronym PIES. It stands for the core components of your inner self: physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. These make up your life, who you are deep down. And these internal PIEs directly influence your life situation, your external results, your circumstances.
Okay, so inner world impacts outer world again.
Precisely. The core message for you is crystal clear. When you dedicate focused time and effort every day to developing and strengthening your PIS, your external life situation will inevitably improve. It has to.
And Life SAVERS are the tools to develop those PIEs.
Bingo. 6 simple but incredibly powerful life-enhancing practices. They are silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. These are the levers you pull daily to consciously create that extraordinary life. So let's dive into each one.
All right, let's start with the first S, silence.
Okay, silence. This might actually be one of the most needed practices in our crazy, noisy, constantly connected world. Incorporating purposeful silence first thing in the morning, it has immediate benefits. Reduces stress, brings calm, fosters clarity, offers peace of mind. It helps you focus on what really matters for the rest of the day.
There's that quote you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Matthew Kelly. You can learn more in an hour of silence than you can in a year from books. It highlights the depth you can reach.
So compare that to a typical morning. Maybe rushing around stressed, or maybe dragging yourself out of bed feeling unproductive.
Exactly. Purposeful silence changes that whole dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you choose meditation, prayer, quiet reflection, deep breathing exercises, or just sitting and feeling grateful,
Yeah.
you're consciously creating this calm, centered space before the chaos of the day hits.
You mentioned a key tip earlier about where to do this.
Yes, crucially important. Don't stay in bed. Don't even stay in your bedroom. If possible, it's just too easy to drift back to sleep.
Right.
The advice is to set up a dedicated spot somewhere else, a comfy chair in the living room, maybe. Have everything you might need, ready cushion, blanket, whatever. Make it frictionless. This helps create a mental separation between sleep and your practice.
Okay, let's zoom in on meditation for a minute, as it's a really popular form of silence.
Yeah.
What are the benefits specifically for you, the listener?
The benefits are well documented now. Studies show regular meditation can actually change your physiology. Things like metabolism, blood pressure, even brain activity patterns. It's proven to help alleviate stress, manage pain, improve sleep quality, boost focus and concentration. Some studies even link it to a longer lifespan.
Wow. Better than medication sometimes, you said.
In some cases, yeah, for certain issues like stress or anxiety, it's often found to be more effective, and obviously without the side effects.
And it's not just monks doing this, right? You mentioned some famous names.
Oh yeah, tons of highly successful people swear by it. Jerry Seinfeld, Sting, Russell Simmons, Oprah, the CEO of Tupperware, Rick Goings. He meditates 20 minutes daily, says it helps him clarify what's really going on.
That really makes you think, doesn't it? If these super busy, high-achieving people make time for it, what could it do for you? For your clarity, your stress levels, your decision-making?
Exactly. So for your first steps into meditation, if you're new, first, just set the intention. Quiet your mind. Try to let go of the busyness. Just aim to be present. Just be. Second, find a quiet spot. Sit comfortably, but upright posture helps alertness. Third, gently focus on your breath. Slow, deep belly breaths. Maybe count. 3 seconds in, hold 3, 3 seconds out.
Okay.
Fourth, thoughts will pop up. That's normal. Don't fight them. Just acknowledge them like clouds passing and gently bring your focus back to your breath. Fifth, you can add visualization. Breathe in calm, breathe out stress. Or sixth, if your mind is really jumpy, pick a single word or phrase like peace or calm and repeat it silently with each breath.
And I might be tough at first. Hal struggled.
He did. He mentioned having ADHD and finding it really hard initially. It took him like 3-4 weeks of consistent daily practice before it clicked. So the message for you is, don't get discouraged if it feels weird or hard at first. That's totally normal. Start small. Even 5 minutes or just 60 seconds of focused silence makes a difference. Consistency is the key.
Okay, great advice. Let's move to A, affirmations. How do these fit in?
Affirmations are presented as one of the most direct tools you have to quickly start becoming the person you need to be to achieve what you want. They're essentially how you consciously design and develop your mindset, shaping your thoughts, your beliefs, your focus.
And again, lots of successful people use these.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think Muhammad Ali, I am the greatest. Will Smith, Jim Carrey, Suze Orman, Oprah. They've all talked about the power of their internal dialogue and self-belief.
Mm-hmm.
See, we all have that internal voice, that chatter, but for most of us, it's unconscious, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually shaped by old fears, insecurities, past criticisms. The book mentions a stat that up to 80% of women struggle with self-deprecating thoughts. It really makes you ask, what's your inner voice saying about you all day? Is it helping you or holding you back?
That's a critical question. And Hal's personal story with affirmations was pretty dramatic.
It really was. He started out super skeptical, even made fun of them, thinking of that old Stuart Smalley character from SNL.
I'm good enough and
Yeah.
smart enough.
Exactly. But then he read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich and decided, okay, I'll give this a real shot. He targeted a specific limiting belief he had because of his accident that he had a horrible memory.
Okay.
So he crafted this very specific affirmation. I am letting go of the limiting belief that I have a horrible memory. I am maintaining the unwavering belief that I have an excellent memory. He repeated it daily, really trying to feel it.
And what happened?
2 months later, he was genuinely astonished. His memory had noticeably, dramatically improved. That experience completely convinced him. It proved to him that affirmations could literally change anything.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is that your internal programming, no matter how long you've had it, can be changed.
Absolutely. Affirmations are your tool to reprogram, to overcome fears, dissolve insecurities, break bad habits, dismantle those limiting beliefs. By consistently and emotionally telling yourself who you want to be, what you want to achieve, your subconscious starts to believe it. And once it believes it, it starts acting on it, creating that new reality.
Okay, so how do you actually create effective affirmations? Are there steps?
Yes, the book lays out 5 simple steps for you. 1. What you really want. Get super clear. What's your ideal vision for yourself and your life? Be specific in key areas: health, mindset, emotions, money, relationships, spirituality. What does level 10 look like for you? 2. Why you want it. This is huge. Define the deep, compelling reasons behind those desires. Your why provides unstoppable motivation. Why is this important to you? Feel it. 3. Whom you are committed to being. Shift focus from just what you want to who you need to become. Your life gets better when you get better. What quality, skills, virtues do you need to embody? 4. What you're committed to doing. Get practical. List the specific actions you'll take. How often, how much, by when. Make them concrete. Start small. Build consistency. Remember, discipline creates lifestyle. 5. Add inspirational quotes, philosophies. Weave in quotes or ideas that really resonate with you, that reinforce the changes you're making or the person you're becoming.
And just writing them down isn't enough,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely not. You have to engage your emotions when you read them. Feel the feelings of already being that person, achieving those goals. Don't just drone them like a robot. Combine it with physiology. Stand tall, breathe deeply, maybe even move around.
Okay.
And remember, your affirmations aren't set in stone. Review them, update them as you grow and achieve things. Consistency is everything. Make it a daily ritual. And hey, even reading good self-help books or listening to deep dives like this, that's a form of affirmation too, feeding your mind positive input. For more help, check out tmmbook.com.
Great advice. Next SAVER is V's for visualization, also called creative visualization or mental rehearsal. What's the essence here?
It's basically using your imagination proactively, creating vivid mental movies of yourself behaving how you want to behave, achieving the outcomes you desire, being the person you want to be.
And again, we see top performers using this.
Oh, massively. Bill Gates visualizing software dominance, Arnold Schwarzenegger seeing himself as Mr. Olympia and a movie star, Tony Robbins, Tiger Woods mentally rehearsing swings, Will Smith, Jim Carrey, Oprah. Jack Nicklaus said he never hit a golf shot without a sharp mental picture first.
The Jim Carrey story about the check is amazing.
Isn't it? Wrote himself a $10 million check, visualized cashing it for years, then got paid exactly that for Dumb and Dumber. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If they can visualize that, what seemingly impossible thing could you start visualizing for your own life starting today?
So what should you visualize, not just replaying the past?
Definitely not. That's rearview mirror syndrome again. Visualization is about designing your future. Create compelling, exciting, limitless visions. Hal's practice, for example, involves seeing his ideal day play out, handling tasks smoothly, confidently, even enjoying them. When writing the book, he visualized people loving it, sharing it, their lives changing. He visualized the positive impact.
Okay, so how do you do it effectively in your miracle morning? 3 simple steps.
Yep, 3 steps for you. 1. Get ready. Find your quiet spot again. Sit comfortably upright. Some people like playing instrumental music softly, classical or baroque, like Bach, can help focus. 2. Visualize your ideal self and day. Start by seeing yourself embodying the person from your affirmations. See yourself with those desired qualities, that energy, that confidence. Then, mentally rehearse your day unfolding perfectly. See yourself nailing that presentation, having that great conversation, crushing your workout. Imagine the details, the successful execution. 3. Feel the emotions. This is absolutely critical. Don't just see it in your mind's eye. Feel it in your body. Feel the pride, the joy, the confidence, the gratitude of having already achieved it. Immerse yourself in the positive emotions as if it's happening right now. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between vivid imagination and reality, so feeling it makes it much more powerful in programming your subconscious.
So it's the feeling state that really anchors it. Okay, let's move to ease exercise. Seems straightforward, but why is it so core to the miracle morning?
It might seem obvious, but placing it here first thing is strategic. So many people intend to exercise, but push it to the end of the day when they're tired, and it often gets skipped.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
Right. But doing even just a few minutes of exercise in the morning has massive benefits that ripple through your entire day. The book emphasizes how it boosts your energy immediately, improves your physical health long term, increases self-confidence, and actually helps you think more clearly and focus better for longer.
What are the sort of immediate benefits for you, the listener?
Physiologically, exercise gets your blood pumping right away, sending oxygen to your brain and all your cells. That directly impacts mental alertness, not just physical readiness. Plus, it triggers endorphins, your body's natural mood boosters. They reduce stress, make you feel happier, more optimistic. It puts you in an ideal state, physically and mentally, to tackle your day. You're literally waking up your body, mind, and spirit.
Does it have to be a long workout?
Not at all. That's the beauty of it in the Miracle Morning context. House stresses that even 6 to 10 minutes can make a huge difference. This makes it super accessible, even if you're really pressed for time.
So what could you do in, say, 10 minutes?
Jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, lunges, a quick yoga flow, anything to get your heart rate up a bit and move your body. Consistency is way more important than intensity here. Hal suggests a simple 5-minute energy burst routine, like a minute each of jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, lunges, crunches, or use a fitness app for quick bodyweight circuits. Just move. It signals to your body, okay, let's go.
Got it. Next is R for reading. Why reading specifically for personal development?
Because it ties directly back to that core Jim Rohn idea. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development. Reading is probably the fastest, most efficient way for you to download knowledge, strategies, and wisdom from the greatest minds and most successful people, past and present.
It's like getting direct access to their brains.
Exactly. Every book holds the potential to shift your thinking, upgrade your skills, change your whole approach. But again, most people push reading to the side, maybe read fiction for escape or just work-related stuff. The Miracle Morning makes reading for growth a priority.
And again, does it need to be a lot of time?
Nope. Same principle as exercise. You don't need to read a whole chapter or commit an hour. Just 10, maybe 15 minutes of focused reading from a good personal development book, a biography, insightful nonfiction that can give you powerful new ideas and perspectives to chew on all day. Quality and consistency trump quantity.
What's the key for making this reading time effective for you?
Be intentional. Choose books that directly align with your current growth goals. Want to improve your finances? Read a finance book. Better relationships. Find a book on communication. Don't just passively scan the words. Engage with the material. Highlight stuff. Make notes. Pause and think, okay, how does this apply to my life? What one thing can I try based on this? The goal is to pull out actionable insights.
Okay, makes sense. And the final letter, the second S, is for scribing, which is basically writing.
Yeah, simply journaling or writing in your morning. But it's way more than just jotting down your to-do list. It's a really powerful practice for self-reflection, gaining clarity, and setting intentions.
How does writing help you specifically?
Well, our minds can be pretty chaotic, right? Full of swirling thoughts, worries, ideas. Scribing, committing those thoughts to paper, helps you untangle them. It gives you perspective, it allows you to process emotions safely, identify patterns or limiting beliefs you weren't aware of, brainstorm solutions, track your progress, and importantly, celebrate your wins, big or small. For you, it's like opening a direct line to your subconscious, helping you understand yourself better and make more conscious choices.
Is there a specific way you should scribe or journal?
Nope. Very flexible. The book suggests experimenting to see what clicks for you. You could just free write, let thoughts flow without censoring. That can be super therapeutic for clearing mental clutter. Or keep a gratitude journal listing things you're thankful for immediately shifts your focus to abundance.
What else?
You could use the time to write down your main goals or priorities for the day, making them more concrete. Or use it as a problem-solving space. Write down a challenge, then just brainstorm possible solutions without judgment. Even just a few minutes of getting thoughts out of your head and onto paper can be incredibly clarifying. It forces articulation. It's an act of self-dialogue that builds awareness and helps you direct your day intentionally. Over time, your journal becomes this amazing record of your growth, of the person you're becoming.
Wow, okay. SAVERS, silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing. That's a powerful morning lineup.
It really is. And we've covered a lot today unpacking how adopting the miracle morning, starting with that fundamental shift in your mindset and those first morning actions, can genuinely, systematically transform your whole life experience.
Yeah, we really dove into how tackling those common roadblocks,
Yeah.
the rearview mirror syndrome, lack of purpose, lack of urgency, all those things,
Mhm.
how addressing them head on empowers you to break free from those self-imposed limits.
Mhm.
And critically, you now have really concrete, practical steps, how to actually wake up with purpose
Yeah.
using that five-step strategy, and then how to implement these life SAVERS practices to consciously elevate your physical, your intellectual, your emotional, and your spiritual well-being every single day.
And let's not forget those benefits we talked about throughout this deep dive. Feeling more energized, more motivated, less stressed. That's huge right there. But also, potentially increasing your income, boosting productivity, finally overcoming those stubborn limiting beliefs.
Right. Even things like achieving health goals, like losing weight, or maybe the biggest one of all, discovering and really starting to live your life's purpose.
Exactly. These aren't just hype or bold claims in a book. They're presented as real, tangible results that you can achieve. It takes consistent, intentional effort, absolutely, but it starts with that very next morning.
It really comes down to this idea, doesn't it? That the most extraordinary life you can possibly imagine for yourself, it's not just for other people, it's genuinely available to you. Doesn't matter what's happened in the past, doesn't matter what challenges you're facing right now. It's there, waiting, waiting for you to develop into the person who's capable of living it.
Beautifully put.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to take away and maybe mull over. What one small, truly intentional step will you commit to taking tomorrow morning? Just one step to begin consciously building the person you are truly destined to become. And by doing so, start creating the extraordinary life that you deeply desire.